Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's doing well. So first up, Ketanji Brown Jackson. She is President Biden's nominee for Supreme Court Justice. So confirmation hearings are going on right now. This is just a bit weird, I have to say. So first, she is, in short, a left-wing activist. I don't know if leftist is the right term, but she definitely is on the left side of the aisle. The Wall Street Journal, however, is saying that, based on what they've heard, because usually a lot of people on the left and some on the right just hate the country for whatever reasons. And they were saying, well, it's nice to actually have a justice who's actually saying that they like the country. Someone on the left specifically, per the Wall Street Journal. But the thing that's kind of raising a couple of eyebrows is that, number one, she is given more lenient sentences for as far as pedophiles are concerned. Now, her argument is that the rules are too strict, given what she's seen, which I guess you could argue for that. And you could, assuming that the argument is there, I'm not going to delve too far into it, but let's say the argument is there. Some have pointed out that if you believe the rules are too strict, you should run for Congress and help to change the rules, not legislate from the bench, is what it's called, where you're using the judicial wing to change the rules rather than changing the rules where you should change the rules, and that would be in Congress. So that was pretty interesting. Now, of course, Tubin of CNN, who is known for other things, was saying that, yeah, and along with the whole pedophile thing, porn charges are often too harsh because the internet makes it easier. Because in the old days, when you had to get mail, it was hard to get porn, so I could see strict sentences. But now that porn is easier to get, the punishment should be lighter. And then other folks have been saying that, well, a lot of judges have been more lenient on pedophiles lately. And of course, there are some who are shaking their heads, who are scratching their heads and saying, that's not necessarily a good thing, right? So, yeah, I don't know. The other thing that I found was interesting is that, of course, because of all this stuff, all the politics and what's the word? What's the phrase now? Culture war stuff. She was asked to define what a woman was. And I don't necessarily think you should be asking, so how do you define this such and such word? Maybe you could. But the thing that got my attention is Ketanji said, well, I can't define that word. Which seems interesting Tim Pool pointed out that she's a staunch supporter of Roe v. Wade. How are you a supporter for Roe v. Wade? And I've had acquaintances and friends and former acquaintances and former friends tell me that, well, I'm a man, I am not a woman, so I cannot have an opinion on abortion. I've had that thrown at me. So I found it odd that, being a staunch supporter of Roe v. Wade, that she's suddenly not able to define the term woman. I also find it a little sad after watching my mom, aunts, their friends all work hard and struggle to claim equal rights and equal opportunity that I think everyone is due, including women. And after all that struggle, the past few decades, you're now not allowed to define what a woman is. It just seems a bit backwards that they would have worked so hard to take these steps forward and to overcome jerks who tried to keep them from gaining equal opportunity, and now we can't do this. It just seems a bit odd. Also, the weird thing that I saw just this morning is that, well, to even question her on different things is racist. Wow, we didn't seem to have a problem with virtual character assassination with at least one of the past 2 or 3 justices, but now if you ask any questions, you're racist. It almost seems like the race card is only played when it suits a certain ideology. Just saying. Also, we'll get to that last. We'll get to it next. Project Veritas. I'm going to post a graphic about this on my personal page, but as I covered earlier, they were raided by the FBI a couple months ago. Federal judge said that they must stop examining the data they've covered and stop all activities against Project Veritas while court proceedings are ongoing. So they've been going through court. Well, apparently there is a mole within the DOJ who gave Project Veritas documents confirming and proving that not only has the Department of Justice not stopped looking at the material that they captured months ago, but they are still going through Project Veritas's emails, like right now, and not telling the federal judge about it. Apparently, Microsoft, which was named in some of the documents, did say that, they essentially did try to push back. I'm saying push back in quotes because we know how it ended. Microsoft gave the Department of Justice access to Project Veritas emails. Number one, it means you need to rethink your relationship with Microsoft for anything personal. Oh my goodness. Second, this is scary because it meant that the legislative branch and the executive branch are supposed to be a check and balance against each other. What's essentially happened is that the federal judge, the legislative branch, said, hey, stop this until we can figure out how to deal with things. And the Department of Justice said, we're going to do what we want, and we're just not going to tell anyone that we're still doing it. Now, apparently, this was so out in left field that the ACLU, which detests Project Veritas, has issued a second statement within months supporting Project Veritas and saying that the government must suspend review of current emails and materials and fully disclose all ongoing activities. They say it's a dangerous precedent. So when the ACLU is defending Project Veritas, the government's gone off the deep end. Freaky stuff. Lastly, Ukraine and the possibility of war. Now, there's a story that popped up which I thought was kind of interesting, because we know that not only is Russia making moves on Ukraine, but Taiwan is in the sights of China. Now, why is this important? Because back in 2012, President Obama eliminated what was called by some people, the two-war doctrine. What it essentially means is that the United States should have enough armed forces and resources on hand to fight 2 regional wars. Well, now that was ended, if we get into a war with China, let me reverse. If we get into a war with Russia, and then China decides it's going to move in on Taiwan, we may not have the capacity to fight both wars at the same time. I'll also add that China is as dangerous, if not probably more dangerous than Russia is. A couple years ago, there was an article talking about how China had designed a type of cruise missile specifically designed to sink our nuclear aircraft carriers in one hit. So yeah, if we did get into a war with China, China has the weaponry to do quite a bit of damage. And that on top of the fact that we may not have enough resources to fight a war in the Atlantic and in the Pacific against both China and Russia, because Russia does have forces in the Pacific as well. So that could make things interesting. So, all right, y'all take care. I'll see y'all soon.